Welcome to The Dark Evidence, the podcast where we explore some of the most intriguing and infamous cases in history while connecting them to present-day events. I'm your host, Valeria, and I'm excited to have you here. Today, we will start the episode by reflecting on topics that we have been studying throughout the semester. The main point or idea that we were revolving around is how the scientific method works and the impact of doing proper analysis. In this case, we were focused more on the forensic aspect of it. However, the role of science is key to solving many problems and to help us understand the world and how it works a little bit better. We can all agree that whether it is DNA analysis, handwriting, or even ballistics, the proper practice of scientific methods is what makes results possible. And in this case, it can aid in bringing justice. So for today, we're tackling two stories that shook public trust. One, from decades ago, the infamous Tylenol murders of 1982, and a modern tragedy involving healthcare CEO Brian Thompson and suspect Luigi Mangione, whose alleged actions ended in violence. Both cases reveal the power of forensic evidence and scientific investigation in achieving justice. So, let's dive into this tale of trust betrayed and justice pursued. So let's start with the Tylenol murders. And for that, we're going to have to rewind to 1982. So picture this. Panic spreading across the United States as reports of sudden, unexplained deaths surface. The common link? Tylenol. What was once a household name for pain relief became a source of terror. It all began in September 29 of 1982, when 12-year-old Mary Kellerman from Elk Grove Village, Illinois, tragically died after taking an extra-strength Tylenol capsule. Within days, 6 more deaths were linked to the same product in the Chicago area. Investigators quickly determined that cyanide had been injected into the Tylenol capsules, and the tampering had occurred after the product left the factory. Johnson & Johnson's response was groundbreaking. Despite the massive cost, they recalled over 31 million bottles and introduced tamper-proof packaging, a decision that set the gold standard for corporate crisis management. But how did forensic science come into play? Well, chemical analysis confirmed cyanide as the lethal agent, and trace evidence on the capsules and packaging offered vital clues. Though investigators were unable to identify a specific suspect, the main suspect of this case was James W. Lewis, who died at the age of 79 in July 2023, so last year. He was the prime suspect in the case, and he was the only person law enforcement focused on for over 40 years. He was never charged in the case, but he was convicted of attempted extortion after writing a ransom note to Johnson & Johnson. Lewis was described as a quote-unquote chameleon who used many aliases and held a variety of jobs. He denied involvement in the murders and wrote letters to the Chicago Tribune disclaiming any connection. Other suspects that were considered in the case were also Roger Arnold, who was a dock worker that was never definitively linked to the murders, and also Ted Kaczynski, who was asked to provide DNA samples, but once again, he was never definitively linked to the murders. Behavioral profiling and public tips were pursued, but the case remains unsolved to this day, leaving it a mystery. Okay, now let's fast forward to December 4th, 2024, so last week. In a shocking incident, United Healthcare CEO Brian Thompson was fatally shot in broad daylight outside the New York Hilton Midtown. The 50-year-old executive was struck in the chest around 6:40 a.m. and succumbed to his injuries at the hospital. Police quickly identified Luigi Mangione, a 26-year-old Ivy League graduate with a history of anti-corporate rhetoric, as the primary suspect. Mangione allegedly fled the scene, but he was apprehended days later in Pennsylvania. Authorities recovered a weapon consistent with the attack, along with false identification and writings critical of corporate practices. In this case, something that was interesting was that ballistics experts were able to disclose the information that the bullet casings had engraved the words defend, depose, and deny, which is an interesting fact that I found out. But however, forensic evidence played a central role in the investigation. So once again, ballistics experts matched the weapon to the recovered shell casings, the ones I just mentioned, while digital forensic specialists uncovered encrypted files on Mangione's devices, pointing to the premeditation of this whole event. Additionally, surveillance footage captured his movements leading up to the crime, providing a timeline that corroborated eyewitnesses' accounts. This case has not only raised concerns about corporate security, but also it highlighted the broader societal impact of unchecked grievances manifesting in violent acts. These two cases, even though they're decades apart, share very striking similarities. Both shook public confidence in systems that are meant to protect us: medication and healthcare. And in both, forensic science was and is key in uncovering the truth. The Tylenol case led to significant reforms, including tamper-proof packaging that now we are very accustomed to, and I would dare say we even take it for granted. So, could the Thompson-Mangione tragedy prompt similar changes in corporate security protocols as well as the awareness of rising societal tensions? Who knows? But however, the differences are also notable too in both cases. So the Tylenol murders, they involved a deliberate poisoning by an unknown assailant, while Thompson's death appears to be the result of a targeted ideological anger. And I think that's the key word between these two cases: targeted. Johnson & Johnson's swift action revealed trust, whereas Thompson's loss has sparked debates about the role of corporate accountability in fostering society's discontent. Ultimately, these cases remind us of the evolving role of forensic science in solving crimes and holding individuals accountable, whether it's a crime scene or a corporate office. Well, as we've seen today, trust is fragile, and justice often hinges on the meticulous work of forensic experts. From chemical analysis to ballistics, science continues to be our ally in uncovering the truth. Well, thank you for joining me on this journey through the echoes of evidence. If you enjoyed today's episode, please share your thoughts, and if you liked it, please let me know. Remember, every case tells a story, and every piece of evidence takes us one step closer to the truth. So stay curious, stay informed, and always question the shadows. Until next time, I'm Valeria, and this has been The Dark Evidence.